there, geeks! Adam coming at you again with another edition of Comic Card Crazy, our new series here on the Wizards the Podcast Guide to Comics YouTube channel, where we're opening up vintage packs of cards. Last time around, if you missed it, we opened up a pack of Marvel Universe Series 1 trading cards, and we're continuing the trend here with Marvel Universe Series 2. That's right, from 1991. This is exciting. It's an exciting set overall because there was the fever, the fury behind those trying to get every little piece of that set back in the day. And then they released this set, which had some improvements to it, just had a little more flash and style. They kind of knew what they were dealing with. But there were some fun things in there that I thought I wanted to mention. In reading Wizard magazine in the early days where they were covering this, Wizard came out in 1991, so did this card set. And one of the things they mentioned was the X-Force cards that came in the poly bag with X-Force number 1 are considered a subset of Marvel Universe Series 2. You know, they were printed by Impel. They have basically the same layout and information there. So it's one of those things where if you didn't know that, you're saying, I have a complete set. Do you? If you don't have all those cards? But in that vein, the question that I have is, Impel also released in 1991 these Halloween cards. I don't know if any of you got these treats cards in your, your pumpkin or your pillowcase or whatever, Halloween 1991, but these were released at the same time. I'm willing to bet, at least I consider them a subset. But of course, the big subset that everybody was all about were the holograms. And I have a special story about the holograms, which is, I have a friend, we went to high school together, he was in my friend group, I went to his house, we, did plays together, any number of things, activities, played some football, but he never told me that his dad was actually the company that printed these cards for, Impel at the time, and it was one of those things where he just dropped it. 20 odd years later, we're having a conversation. He's like, oh, did you collect those cards? Oh, you have a comic book podcast? Yeah, my dad did the Marvel cards. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, I used to have a whole bunch of them in my garage. I'd just give them to my friends. I bet he still has some. Let me go look. So he went around. He was checking out, everything that his dad still had in his collection. And then I got these in the mail. That's right. He sent me a full set of the holograms for Marvel Universe Series 2. And I was just like, Eric, you're awesome, dude. Thank you so much. Because I had been collecting them, buying up individual packs. And I tried to, I want to do it organically. I didn't want to just buy somebody's full set somewhere. And then to get that was an extra special bonus. You never know who's connected to the world of trading cards around you. But either way, I did want to share this because, again, a special set to me. So I wanted to commemorate it. I made this little piece of art to frame and put in my office. As you can see, the original comic book ad there with all these different gloved hands holding the cards, trading them, are awesome. Package design, which I do think is a step up from the original set. And then, you got your Hulk hologram down here. So just very, very fun stuff. I can't wait to open up this pack. So let's get into it. Okay, so here we are with our pack of Marvel Universe Series 2 trading cards. Once again, advertising the bonus holograms, 12 full-color trading cards. I do love that they give you 12. That just feels like a nice number where you're going to get a lot for your money back in the day. Get your Marvel Universe Series 2 Collector's Album, still $20, it says here. And then, of course, you can also get your checklist. So they were following a similar pattern to what they were doing before, but really giving it a nice sheet. I love the layout, just, the white and just like kind of having a border to it. Just everything seemed just a little bit upgraded design-wise, as we'll see as we open up this pack. So let's get into it here. Nothing like that feeling, right? What's to come? Oh, here we go. Okay. We saw that, so let's pull them out first. Death's Head, not Death's Head 2. Now, this guy has a tie to the Transformers comics that Marvel put out, I believe. Maybe it was Marvel UK originally. There's kind of some weird stuff there. Yeah, because look what they say here. First appearance, Dragon's Claws number 5. That had to have been a Marvel UK title of some sort, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, did you know Death's Head actually owns a pet? a pet vulture. Oh, okay. So that's interesting. So there we go. Start out with Death's Head. That was a character I definitely did not know at the time at all. Oh, Marvel Girl in her X Factor costume. So Jean Grey's back. Yes, that's an awesome look here. Let's see what her stats are. Now, notice how the power ratings are a little different now. They've given us, some bars to follow, whereas before it was just mostly stats and how many wins and losses and maybe a little fun fact as some trivia as a joke, It is a little harder to read the trivia, though, I will say. Did you know Marvel Girl can literally think her way out of imprisonment with a mental command? She can break any lock and untie any knot. That is a pretty good deal. That's interesting, though, yeah. So the one thing about these is the art that they put in here. So they actually have, I think this is Art Adams right there, because that's an AA. So they would let the artists, maybe they would come to regret this, but tell you who they were. Okay, so wow. Okay, so in the Series 1 pack we opened, last episode we got Venom, and here he is again. So this is pretty awesome to have Venom involved here. Doesn't have the gross tongue or anything going on just yet. He's just a big buff dude in the black costume. His strength is number 5, so that's pretty good. His durability, intelligence, he's not so intelligent. That's not what we're looking for. Let's see here. So let's check out our stat here. Did you know the alien costume can mimic the appearance of any clothing, thus making Venom a master of disguise? Yes, I do recall, how often he would just change into street clothes and things like that, but also, I guess he could mimic other people and go undercover. All right. Oh, sticking with Venom, here we go. An Arch Enemies card with Spider-Man versus Venom. So definitely looking a little bit more menacing there as Spidey's trying to crawl away. They specifically are referencing their first encounter was Amazing Spider-Man number 299. Is that disputed now? I guess it was, right? Because he kind of made an appearance at the end, but sometimes they talk about when those mysterious hands pushed Peter Parker in front of a subway train or something like that. Anyway, yeah, so that gives you kind of the history of Venom, which we're pretty familiar with. Oh, wow. So this is going along quite nicely with the other pack we got, because we got Mr. Fantastic in our Series 1 pack as well. I always preferred this one because, well, his head looked proportionate. He was still stretching, but he didn't seem kind of awkward like he was in that first card. Plus, this is the area where they're kind of starting to wear some more tech and get more X-Force-y, you might say, kind of the cableization of a lot of classic Marvel characters. Look at his intelligence, a 6. So he's not off the charts, but, they always say he's the smartest man in the Marvel Universe. Did you know Reed and his archenemy Dr. Doom attended the same college? Oh, so there is that connection there, of course. But yeah, that's a beautiful card. I like that one a lot. All right, here's one I wouldn't have known a lot about, although I have since read Spirits of Vengeance and those types of things. So Ghost Rider versus Death Watch. Ghost Rider Volume 2, Number 1. Little is known about Death Watch, the merciless foe of Ghost Rider, the Spirit of Vengeance. But yeah, so these are, if you didn't get intrigued to understand more about the characters for that, it was just, the art was so dynamic, including this Captain Britain. Just look at that right there. Now, I've mentioned before on our podcast that Excalibur, an issue of Excalibur, was my first comic I ever bought. So, I had a connection to Captain Britain, even though I didn't stick with the series. But look at this. His strength and durability. He's pretty strong there, Mr. Brian Braddock. He can't do too much to him. Captain Britain's twin sister is also a superhero, the telepathic mutant X-Man known as Psylocke. Yeah, that would have been a revelation for a lot of people, I think, at the time. If you weren't reading between everything and going back to the 80s issues, if you're just coming on board. But here we are, speaking of the current crop of new heroes, the new Warriors. Quite a team here. So this had to be Mark Bagley drawing this, because he was the one who was the regular series artist anyway. So, of course, he was already contributing a lot to the Series 1 cards. Going to do some more here. So their first appearance was Thor number 411, for those of you trying to find the new Warriors, when they appear in the MCU someday. They're the Taylor Foundation building. Okay. Of course, my favorite era is when Darkhawk joined them. But did you know Namorita, though youthful by the standards of the Atlantean race, is by far the oldest of the New Warriors? Okay, well, makes sense, I guess. But it was so cool to see Firestar in there. You're like, what? Spider-Man and his amazing friends counts? Okay. Oh, here's a guy. Man, look at how intense he is. I mean, that's like a Terminator pose, if you've ever seen one, right? And T2 is just coming out around this time, so that's really cool, though. That's a great Ultron. Look at that. Okay. Let's read what we find out about him. Ooh, his stamina is all the way to a 7. I don't think we've seen anyone go that far, but it makes sense, right? I mean, he is a robot, so it's not like he really... And I think he... let's see if they say anything about his ability to create his own energy. No, I don't see that there, but let's see. Did you know, at last count, Ultron has redesigned himself from scratch 13 times? That's a pretty neat stat, actually. But way back in 1968 was when he first came around. Man, that's such a great design. I love that. Ooh, now here we go. We have Eric Masterson as Thor, so he wasn't even Thunderstrike at this point. He was still Thor. That's kind of neat. Whoa, his strength and speed are at a 7 as Thor. That's neat. He's 6'6", 640 pounds. But interesting here, they say first appearance is Journey into Mystery, so, you know, the original Thor. Let's see if they get very deep into that. Okay, here we go. The powers of this legendary Norse god of thunder were bestowed upon a mortal called Eric Masterson, so that humanity could not be without a protector. Yeah, after the original Thor was banished. Okay, so they give you a little bit of that there. Eric Masterson is the first mortal to be given the powers of an Asgardian god. Neat. So I guess Beta Ray Bill wasn't a mortal. Oh, now this was a cool addition to the series, I thought, were the weapons cards. Because when I would read the handbook to the Marvel Universe, these were my favorites, like Spider-Man's web shooters, how do they work, that type of thing. So Wolverine's Claws, I mean, of course we're seeing awesome Jim Lee artwork here, so that's really going to sell it. But look at this on the back, so it kind of explains, like, if people didn't know much, like, oh, are they a part of his gloves? Like, how does it all go? No. You see, you know, that they actually come up and out of his arms, and wow. I mean, I wonder how much of this has been retconned, if any, at this point. There's always those debates among comic fans, right? Okay, finally here, Jigsaw. Look at that guy right there. So this is a Bagley, Mike Manley, it looks like. They're telling us for the art there. But yeah, I mean... I didn't know who Jigsaw was. I wasn't reading Punisher comics at the time, but when I saw this card as a kid, I was like, this guy is serious business. I mean, look, of all the power ratings we've seen, he's just a guy. So he's like in a 2. He's not over the top on anything. But wait, Amazing Spider-Man 161. So the question I have is that the first appearance of the Punisher and he was going after Jigsaw in that? Or was he originally a Spider-Man villain? You got some Punisher fans out there, you gotta tell me. But did you know Jigsaw was once brainwashed into believing that he was the Punisher by a vigilante group that sought to create an army of Punishers. Wow, that would have been a fun storyline, his arch enemy becoming the Punisher himself. So, all right, well, there you go. Fun pack indeed. Let's close this thing out. Man, just a solid set of cards, Marvel Universe Series 2. Great, great stuff. Still no hologram. Who knows? Maybe when we come back with Series 3, we'll be able to get a hologram. But as far as my favorite cards as I was going through that, I mean, I gotta go with Ultron and Wolverine's Claws. I mean, Ultron just because that is so dramatic, coming out of the flames and all that. But this Wolverine card, I mean, when you look at it, you know, a lot of people say about like an actor or a great orator, you know, they could read the phone book and I'd be enthralled. I feel like Jim Lee could draw the phone book and we'd all be super excited to tune in for people's random names and addresses drawn in the Jim Lee style. So very fun to get into Marvel Series 2. And like I say, you want to make sure that you're subscribed here to Wizards, the Podcast Guide to Comics YouTube channel so you don't miss our third installment where we open up a pack of Marvel Universe Series 3 cards. Yes, I have stories about those as well, and I'm excited to share them with you. Of course, if you want to stay connected to the world of Wizards, the Podcast Guide to Comics in audio form, you can go to wizardscomics.com, where we have over 250 episodes. These are episodes that cover each issue of Wizard Magazine, plus do behind-the-scenes interviews with the people who created the magazine, bonus episodes, so much more. So you can check it out there or on your favorite podcatcher. Of course, you can also find us on social media. We're at Wizards Comics everywhere you go, except on Instagram. It's at Wizards_comics. If you're over there looking for the photos, something to swipe through and enjoy. But either way, like I say, we will be back soon. Marvel Universe Series 3. Can't wait to share it with you. We'll see you then. Until next time, keep your books bagged and boarded.